Welcome to the DFL Breakdown, presented by GrizLeeGear, with your hosts, Lucas Ford and Ricky Epperson.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the DFL Breakdown, the number one cartoon side character themed, league specific, weekly fantasy football podcast in the universe. You know, Alex asked me what the Dimmadome even was this week. He never knew. In the history of the entire league, he had no idea what I've been referencing this entire time, and I cannot believe that. It is literally the background of our conversation at the moment, and that was shocking to me, but there was plenty of shocking things happening in the Dimmadome this week. That was only one of them. Shocking performances from none other than my boy Josh Allen, as well as a ton of other guys here. We're going to talk about it soon, but first and foremost, we got to mention that my boy Ricky is here for the podcast. Welcome back, Ricky. Short hiatus, but we got you. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I was staying away because, spoiler alert, I'm on a 6-week win streak. So kind of feel like I'm fucking up all the juju by being here. But happy to be here nonetheless. Let's get it popping.
Well, I'm sure plenty of people would prefer to see the juju messed up and have you here for multiple reasons. But in any case, we got a lot to talk about, like we mentioned. So why don't we get into that game breaker, and then we can get into what's happening this week, because it's rematch week in the Dimmadome, and we got plenty of exciting action to get to. So let's get to it.
I'm coming! Here I come! Game Breaker.
All right, we already talked about him, but we're going to talk about him more because it was Josh Allen week in the Dimmadome, in the NFL, everywhere. The dude scored 6 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 3 through the air, and almost 50 points in fantasy, almost single-handedly winning me my week.
It was pretty close. Pretty close to being single-handed. Yeah, Josh took the L from the Dolphins, and he owned that and said, I'm going to put it all into the next week. He saved up for a week. So congrats. That was the first time that the Josh Allen pick really showed itself for you, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial time for the Ball Hogs. Congrats on your Josh Allen smash play.
You know, it's funny. It's been all year that I've been rooting for Josh Allen. I even kind of trash talked him a little bit. I was like, it just hasn't been worth it. He hasn't really just gone out there and won me a week like I wanted him to. And this week, I really did want the Bills to lose to the Bucks, because I'm a Patriots fan, and I was very vocal about it. I was like, go Baker, take down the Bills. Go Patriots. And Josh Allen comes out and puts up a 50 burger. So maybe I gotta not believe in the guy more to get more performances like this in the future. A little bit hard to do, and it's kind of the opposite intention there.
He completely fails against the Texans tonight, right, Luke?
Oh yeah, he's definitely just gonna do trash tonight on Thursday Night Football. We had a couple other huge performances here that we're looking at. CMC putting up another monster week, 35 points out of him. Michael Wilson, early look at our guy.
Waiver Warrior.
He was a 33.5 point pickup off the waivers, so huge shout to Sal on that. And Trey McBride doing it big for you as well. A big part of your game there, and he's been awesome all year, so I'm sure you've been happy to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big part of the week this week. We can get into it more. I didn't draft him. Leemon did, and that's who I played this week. We can talk about those implications when we do the score summary. But I'm noticing that Christian McCaffrey's name doesn't exist, and I just think that's really cool. It's like we don't need to put a tile in there. You know who that is. If you're looking at the sleeper app, you know who CMC is. We won't talk about how it's not there for Loveland either, but it's pretty cool for CMC.
It's a white running back that scored 35 points. We all know who that is. They don't even need to waste the time writing it. We got Nate also putting up a huge week here for us. It was the best week out of anybody with 146 points, and Eric coming up with the worst week at 106. Not our worst performance that we've seen this year. I've seen plenty worse, so really kind of a middling week for almost everybody and a lot of tight scores. So without further ado, why don't we get into the score summary and get those broken down.
Score summary.
All right. I did a little bit of a rebrand. I'm just going, you know what? Screw it. I'm evil mode through the rest of the year, and don't ask me what that means. It worked, so I'm sticking with it. The Black Suit Ball Hogs came out and took care of business against the Bill Cosby Sleepers. The 48-point performance out of Josh Allen definitely drove me over the edge. I barely got the median win here. I was the 6th place finish, so really he did it for me in spades when I had some weak performances out of the middle of my lineup here. Jaylen Warren left the game early with a little bit of an injury. We'll see if he is out long term with that or not. David Montgomery only 4.7 on Monday night, just barely enough to get me over the edge. It was definitely stressful to watch, and the one dude,
A suspect start.
yeah, despite me wanting to start Kenneth Gainwell all week, I even had him in here on the podcast. I have video evidence that I was going to start him against the Bengals, and I was convinced otherwise, and I put David Montgomery in, and I regretted it, and I was very sad, and I was a little bit angry in the chat at everybody who told me I shouldn't have started him, but thankfully, even though I got the bad beat on that, I still got the lucky break with Josh Allen putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, David Montgomery was the culture guy, the glue guy. No, but the Jaylen Warren thing and Kenneth Gainwell thing was pretty interesting to me how it played out, because they got to like the 11-yard line because Jaylen Warren broke off like a 42-yard run, and then needed a breather. And then the next play, Kenneth Gainwell was like, "I'll punch it in from 11 yards out." So like he got the touchdown. It was early on that Kenneth Gainwell was outscoring Jaylen Warren, and it's because Warren set it up. And then he gets injured, and Kenneth Gainwell keeps cooking with Mason Rudolph behind center, and they win. They beat Cincy and Flacco and all that, and like I don't know, it was a really strange game, and the way that it played out, I feel like completely unique. I think Jaylen Warren would have scored you 30 points if he would have stayed healthy.
For sure, yeah, and he had the good grace to put up 8.7 before he went out, which is, not a fantastic performance, but obviously it was enough for me. I got a big week out of Derrick Henry. He had over 100 yards and a touchdown, starting to look like the Derrick Henry of old. It's getting cold outside. Defenses are getting tired, and they are not ready for the freight train, man. And he always ramps up, and I'm hoping he keeps doing it for me here. Ginkle putting up 14 was huge, too, and I had a little landman pickup on the waiver wire that gave me 9 points in the IDP. Much better than what I've been getting recently, so solid, and I'm happy about that. But Artie wasn't that far behind me, and him getting snubbed on Monday night by Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, putting up barely 20 points between them. He needed more, and he just fell just short. Oh, it was right down to the wire, man. Watching it Monday night all the way through. I can't. I hate that. Or was it Sunday night? It was Sunday night. Okay, it wasn't Monday night at least, but still wait until midnight to find out the result of your fantasy matchup is stressful as hell.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was Goff, St. Brown, Goddard, and I feel like there was one more.
David Montgomery.
Yeah, you're David Montgomery. That's right. So, I mean, 4 pieces that we were watching, and I mean, I know I was watching because this has big implications for you for the playoffs. Artie's pretty secure up there at 13-9. He's kind of slipping. I think he's on like a 3, 1.5 week loss streak, right? He hit the median or he got the head-to-head but missed the median last week. But, he's got to stop slipping, but he's pretty comfortable there. I mean, 1 or 2 more W's, and he's kind of punching his ticket. But yeah, they came up short. That was stressful. Jared Goff looked awful against that Philly defense.
Definitely frazzled, yeah. It was a tough go for him and Lions fans in that one. Only putting up 9 points. It's it's sad. You want to see that's like your competition in the NFC, right? The Eagles are kind of the standard to beat. They're the Super Bowl champions. I know a bunch of people left, and the offense is looking kind of different, but they got a ring until you take it from them. They're the champs until you can hang the banner yourself. So you can't help but compare yourself to them, and they definitely fell up short here. That was a big test for them that they failed, and we'll see how they bounce back from that, because a lot of people, especially in the fantasy world, are depending on these Lions doing a lot more than they did. That has big implications for everybody. But as for Artie, didn't get the wins here. Like you mentioned, he's getting close to punching his ticket. We've talked about 14 being that magic number on either side, and he's at 13 wins right now. So he's still got 3 weeks to go and plenty of opportunities to do it, but didn't get it here against the Ball Hogs. All right.
Not this week.
Not this week. No. All right. Let's talk about Alex versus the Goofy Gooners here. Riley and Alex squaring off. Riley barely got his median win at the end here. George Pickens on Monday night versus Las Vegas went absolutely nuclear, 29.4 points. He was even better than CeeDee Lamb in that game, just getting a ton of looks. They're easily the most dangerous wide receiver duo in the league right now, and he is just putting up numbers. But Jameson Williams was also good for him. George Kittle was good, but a huge disappointment out of Lamar Jackson. And against Cleveland, they won that game, but that's a tough defense, and he threw 2 interceptions and had no touchdowns. It was all punched in by Derrick Henry and others there. Even Mark Andrews, I think, got like a QB sneak, tight end sneak touchdown in that game or something stupid as well.
They lined up for a fake tush push, and then he rolled out for like a 23-yard run into the end zone. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it,
yeah, it was right. It was, yeah, I did, okay, yeah, I did remember some crazy shit happening, but I couldn't remember exactly why it was Mark Andrews taking snaps, and that was it. Kimani Vidal got an injury. He came back into this game, but he was like in and out. I don't know exactly what happened with Kimani Vidal, and we'll see if he ends up continuing to start and everything there moving forward. But they're going to have a bye here, so that's tough for Riley to deal with, and definitely cost him a lot in this matchup, even though the rest of his team did well, besides Tez Johnson only putting up 1.6, which is rough.
Yeah, he needed 12 more points here, right? And he was our least efficient manager on the week. He could have put up quite a bit. So there's quite a few different things in here that could have saved him. I mean, all these guys just got kind of random touchdowns. I understand them being on the bench. Yeah, when I call you out for being least efficient, it's mostly for the memes. I know everyone's thinking about their starts. And obviously, Devin Singletary isn't the guy you want to see in your lineup. I don't blame you whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It still doesn't take any of the sting out of it for Riley. He knows that, he could be one win closer to the playoffs, and being part of the 9-13 club as opposed to the 8-14 club would have felt a lot better for him. Meanwhile, Alex clinches his way to the playoffs here. He's in. No one's taking that away from him, and he's just fighting for the bye now.
Yeah, big wins for him here, getting that official clinch into the playoffs. 17 wins on the season already with 3 weeks to go is huge. And this week was kind of a statement here. We talked about Pickens being better than CeeDee Lamb in the game, but CeeDee Lamb was no slouch, had a touchdown himself. with 5 receptions and 66 yards. He just got solid performance out of Mark Andrews, who we talked about, that crazy 35-yard carry for a touchdown that you mentioned. That's funny. I
Yeah.
wasn't even looking at Alex's side of the matchup here, but it was completely relevant what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's the swing right there. I mean, Lamar Jackson runs in that touchdown, and that's 12 points.
Yep. Yeah.
12-point swing.
Wow.
So
That really, I mean, that's a huge decider for the game there. The fact that Mark Andrews just took the snap himself and scored that touchdown there. Um, it really meant a lot because everything else was passes to Andrews and Flowers. He just got completely countered by Alex on this one. Brees wasn't great for him. Stafford put up a middling performance, but big touchdown game out of Kyron Williams. And Deebo Samuel also went off in that morning game, in that International Madrid game against the Dolphins. Even though they lost, he put up 21.7 points. So big stuff out of him there. Yeah, Dodson. I think he picked him up this week too.
yeah, no.
Yeah, and then he already dropped him today. Okay, he had him for a little
He's had him
while.
since October. Yeah.
He had him for a little while. But in any case here, big win from Alex, like you said, securing that playoff spot with a JT bye. Yeah, that is scary. He's definitely looking strong and trying to take home some wins to lock up that number 1 seed that he's got a hold of right now.
Hey, there's a team to beat. And Alex is winning in a lot of things. So, congrats, Alex, on everything you're winning at. Right?
Yeah, and yeah, taking home the win here as well. It's gonna be big for him moving forward. All right, let's talk about Leemon versus you in this matchup that you won, scored 140 points. So you got over the median as well. Clean 2-0 for you and an 0-2 for Leemon. He put in Purdy, who came back and lit it up versus the Cardinals. That was great. Manungai got him a touchdown, who's been surprisingly consistent for him and startable. But a lot of disappointment elsewhere. Kyle Williams had 3 targets, but no receptions, no sauce on that game. Even though the Patriots smashed the Jets on Thursday, Kyle Williams was not a part of it. Rome Odunze has been inconsistent for him down the stretch here. Only 6.1 points for him. Caleb's been more prone to just kind of do it himself recently. And Rome has been suffering a little bit from that. Genty got absolutely blown up by the Cowboys. He was part of a safety that he couldn't even get out from behind that line if he wanted to, man. They are a wet paper bag, and the Cowboys absolutely smashed him into pieces. Got 33 points out of Ted McMillan. But other than the big Mason Crosby week, again, who's been awesome every week, it was just disappointment everywhere else, and that is what's going to spell a 118-point finish and an 0-2 week for Leemon.
Yeah, I mean, 3 standouts there. Purdy, Tet, and Crosby. Those were the only guys all week that I watched them score, and I was like, uh-oh. Wait a minute. Brock Purdy's off to he threw like 2 touchdowns in the first 7 minutes of their game. And I'm like, if he just keeps going, but my man, CMC just started running them in. They trashed the Cardinals 41-22, but Brock Purdy only got small pieces of that because CMC is getting it done on the ground. My hero. But yeah, I mean, Tet was just lighting it up, and we're in that Monday night game, and I feel pretty secure. But it's never over till it's over, right? And all of a sudden, Crosby's getting sacks on the first, not the opening drive, but the drive right after. So, yeah, those were the 3 spooky players, but everyone else, I mean, he started off with the Kyle Williams egg on a Thursday night game. Kind of set the tone. And yeah, on the other side, Bijan was great. My Joe Flacco kind of fell flat against Pittsburgh. Divisional game. Him and T. Higgins connected for 1 touchdown. That kind of saved my week here, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple of disappointing performances on my side. Bijan for 30 is huge. It's a big part of my win this week. Trey McBride also big.
Yeah.
But Devontae Adams, good for one yard touchdown.
On 8 targets, just gets that one touchdown, man. He
Yeah,
is good
yeah,
for it, like you said.
yeah. He's good for it. He'll find it. So, um, didn't feel great the way it won. Like my guys weren't producing, and all of a sudden they were lighting it up with touchdowns. Algiers in there scoring a touchdown. He's inevitable. And Will Anderson, big pickup for me on the waivers. Not
Nice.
enough for the waiver warrior. Everything pales in comparisons to Michael Wilson, but all good stuff. That's probably a median difference there. That's just
Yeah.
like a 6 point
That's a big deal, getting a
guy.
getting a huge performance out of a guy you just picked up there. I mean, Algier, yeah, just been a good start. You acquired him in a trade as a handcuff option, and you've just been flexing him, and it's been working out for you. So that's been pretty cool. Only 6.1 out of Woody Marks, like you said, a little bit of disappointment in through here, but as on Monday night you're watching Javante keep pace with Genty. I'm sure that's all you're looking for there, and he did that and kept you out in front, and yeah, it was even though you were getting those spooky points racked up from Max Crosby, it
Yeah,
wasn't enough to catch you here, and you took home another dub, a big, yeah, like you said, big week for you, a big stretch for you here, and now you're coming up into the number 2 spot, which
that's
is
right.
which is big for the Sorcerers here. We'll see if you can continue that moving forward, because you've got a lot of exciting matchups with the return of the week 1 matchup coming up next here. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Kind of takes you back to how it was right after the draft, what you thought everything was going to be with your team. I can't wait to kind of talk about
I'm sure I
exactly
have
what's
all the
happened
same
here.
players.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly the same. All right, let's talk about the apple bottomed jeans versus El Presidente Lord Biden here. It's Corey versus Nate, and Nate took home another 2-0 win here. Corey getting the 0-2 loss. Big implications on both sides. Nate spent the first part of the year in the gutter, in the depths of despair. His team was just not able to get wins for a long time for pretty much any reason. Eric, too, was down there for a long time. And Nate has been on this meteoric rise to the top now, and he's up to 8th place, I believe. He's 9-13. He's definitely in the hunt. Not eliminated by any means. A couple good wins here and there, and he can definitely get in. So he's been plotting. He's been waiting to come back, and Travion Henderson, huge part of that. The last 2 weeks, he's scored 5 touchdowns and absolutely monster performances right off the trade deadline. I mean, he got him, and he's just been going nuts since. He just needed a change of scenery, I guess. Couldn't produce where he was, but putting in big time now. His nickname here is because we literally got a report that they were preparing to give him a big load coming into that Thursday night game. So the big load incoming, Travion Henderson. It was all true, and he just kept scoring. He got a passing touchdown, or not a passing, a receiving touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Just looked like a superstar. Chase Brown putting up 18.7 points for him, almost 100-yard day out of him with some pass work as well, which he's good for. Even in a loss where they score 12 points, this is the type of line you can expect out of him with no touchdown. When you have consistent quarterback play, at least, we don't have to talk about the time that Browning was in there and Chase Brown suffered. He's back. Joe Flacco is there, and Chase Brown has just become consistent and showed why people valued him so high at the beginning of the year. Rashee Rice, middling day in that loss for the Chiefs that everyone loved to see against the Broncos. Fuck the Chiefs and fuck Rashee Rice. You should be in prison. Emeka Egbuka, 9 points there. That was a middling day for him. You expected more in a game that the Bucs scored 32 points. And wow, damn, Christian Watson, 20 points. Brian Burns, 23 points. Huge stuff out of those guys for Nate. Wasn't a lot in the middle there, but those were the kind of things that set him over the edge. But wow, 2 touchdowns out of Christian Watson in his return. That was big.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that might be a waiver pickup again. We're alluding to Michael Wilson here. You just can't top him this week, but Christian Watson sure did give it the old college try there. Yeah, couple of 4 really solid performances here. I think Jalen Hurts did okay for him up to the top 2, so it's like a solid core. You want to see more out of Rice and Igbuka, but hey, they took the week to show their floor, and you still got the 2-0. I always like to see that because it just it's all gonna average out. I think they'll have a better chance of showing ceiling next week, coming off of that. But yeah, big wins, like you said, is big implications here for Nate and his squad. They're rising up. He traded away Gibbs, uh, and then started winning. And that's kind of my takeaway from that situation is you need to be able to move big pieces if you want to see big changes in your team. Um, you triple the chances of getting touchdowns if you have 3 guys that have touchdown opportunities as opposed to the one, right? I mean, and here they are. They're doing the thing. Obviously, Travion Henderson flipped a switch there, but it was a big trade, and he's winning.
Yeah, because he was the one that was suffering with Ramondre Stevenson before, and now that's Dylan, and everything has changed for him. Corey, on the other hand, here he did make some changes, and it was looking to be good for him. I mean, Jaden Daniels has missed a bunch of time, so that he could still say it was a good trade for him. But Drake May, he's been putting up some great performances to watch, but fantasy, not so much. It's only 17.4 points out of him here. Only that one passing touchdown, and it was to Travion Henderson. The rest were rushing touchdowns from Travion Henderson. So it was just not a lot to go to Drake May here. He looked incredible, had a great completion percentage, and led the team to a nice victory, but didn't lead the apple-bottomed DeJeans to a victory in fantasy land here. The fact that 21.5 points shows up as red for Devon Achane just shows you how awesome Achane has been this season. You love to see 21.5 points. Projections be damned. That's great stuff out of him. 120 yards in the ground and 5 receptions for 45 yards. Oh, you should have done better, Devon. Dude is fucking awesome, man.
Didn't score a touchdown. His week's ruined.
Yeah, jeez, man. Okay, sleeper. Hard to please, I guess, with this type of shit here. I'm so sorry you only put up 165 all-purpose yards and caught every target.
Von Achan's the second-born child and has all the expectations of the firstborn put on him.
Yeah.
Why he needs to be Christian McCaffrey, man.
I was literally just going to say, why isn't he CMC? Yeah, this is... God damn. Yeah, well, Corey's saying that right now. He's at home saying that. Oh, you didn't hit his projection. What the fuck, man? I needed more. I lost. Only 11 out of Justin Jefferson talking about needing more. He hasn't really had the big spike weeks this year that you're hoping for out of him. Only 6.9 out of Hawkinson. He started 2 tight ends. I was afraid he wasn't going to start Kelsey when he left Hawkinson in. I noticed he was just flexing Kelsey, and Kelsey had a big day, even though they lost that game. 10 points out of Aluakun. He's named after DeJean. DeJean gets 17 on his bench. He's not in the game. I don't understand how you can have like an eponymous player on your team. The whole name is around this guy, and you don't even start him when he's playing games. Put him in. He's scoring you big points. This guy's been kind of lit, man. I don't know. Put him in. I want to see it. You can't be named after him.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point there, but also Corey's going to do whatever he wants, and wants to be the apple bottom DeJeans with DeJean at the bottom of his roster being an apple. No, but it's 10 and 12 and 9 and 13. These 2 teams were 8 and 12 and 7 and 13 respectively, and they come into this. It's a huge swing because Nate brings himself within 1 game of Corey with just one big swing here. The pack has become even tighter. The race is on. We'll go over it in more detail, but this was a very important match.
Yeah, we'll get to those standings soon, and I've been talking about it all year. I'm like, as we get later on, things will start to shake out and separate, and they just haven't, man. The center of this standings board has been just deadlocked tight all year, and it's still anybody's game there. So I'm excited to talk about it more. But someone else who's definitely interested in the fate of 9 and 13 teams is Dylan with the retarded YNs, because he got an 0-2 loss this week, and he is 9 and 13 as well. So Chris taking home. Yeah, just sliding terribly. Bo Nix has been terrible for him in fantasy. He's still winning games, so you can't take it away from him apparently, but I would be starting anybody else if I could. Man, picked up Sean Tucker on waivers, thought he might put him in, but didn't end up doing it, and that was bad for him.
The only person that could have taken down Michael Wilson was Sean Tucker, but you have to have balls to have the waiver warrior.
Yeah, and he
can't sit Sean Tucker.
Can't shit Sean Tucker, man. He could have put it, but the used needle is just close in his heart, and he had to put him in, and it didn't work out for him there. So pretty poor performance from Dylan on this one. Still just getting 36 points out of Myles Garrett and wasting them, just squandering all those points in a sea of red. It's literally real life. It's Myles Garrett being the superstar in a sea of misery and pain. And like the Browns, Dylan just taking home losses here.
You know who else is called Dylan the Browns?
Who?
None other than Red Zone Scott Hansen. He said, "You're just like the Cleveland Browns."
Dimmadome!
And here he is. He's Myles Garrett and nobody.
Oh no, he just can't escape it. Talk about things coming full circle into rematch week from the beginning of the year. It's just another Browns comparison for Dylan, and it might hold true after all this time here. we got Chris on the other side here on a tear. Barely made the median, but took home the 2-0 week. He's at 12 wins. Really, he's at 13-9 now. Up in I think he's in 4th place in the standings, and Dak Prescott has been huge for him. Christian McCaffrey has been huge for him, who he acquired. James Cook coming back and having a big day for him. Geez, even though Josh Allen got 6 touchdowns, he still got a touchdown out there for James Cook. So how thoughtful and generous there. Not much out of Ladd McConkey, not much out of Jalen Waddle, not a ton out of Wan'Dale Robinson, and nothing for Khalil Shakir. But Jordan Brooks was a nice pickup for him to slot into the IDP slot, and that was a big deal for him there. 11 out of Jake Ferguson on Monday night, and then his big giant performances up top here, really just enough to carry him. Yeah, Dak Prescott on Monday night just got him there, got the job done, and fixed it all for him. So big week out of Chris, and putting him up on top of the leaderboard. Well, not the very top, but in the top half.
Yeah, he's now 13-9, and that puts him in a pretty good spot. He's in fourth. He's in 4th now. But yeah, I mean, you look at this team that he's got going on. He's like showing 90 points here at the top. It's kind of deceiving because you start scrolling down, it's just a sea of red outside of the IDP play there. But I mean, yeah, if he got 3 solid guys putting up 20 plus, 30 plus performances, it helps you get those wins. I think he hit the median here.
He did.
So he got that underneath his belt, and yeah, Dylan didn't put up a fight on the other side. Jahmyr Gibbs, 19.8 points. That's pretty good, but it's not Trevion Henderson good. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
Trevion Henderson good.
And Ramondre Stevenson missing time out on the sideline, and that is not helping him either. So tough break for Dylan there. All right, we got our last matchup from week 11. It is the Bower of London versus the Osama bin Darnolds. This was the Retardinal. Sal has rebranded here, and this was also
Wet Noodle Fight of the Week.
A stinker on both sides here. 114.96 for Sal, 106 for Eric. Under that 132-point median, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, and not a lot of points to go around for either of them. Disappointment from both sides on the quarterback front. Sam Darnold the last 2 weeks has really just been terrorizing Sal with his play. I think prompting this rebrand here, just starting to look like the Sam Darnold of old again all of a sudden, and it's scary. His leash is shorter than even if Patrick Mahomes has a bad couple weeks in a row, you're like, it's Patrick Mahomes. We've seen good stuff out of him. Sam Darnold, he has a couple bad weeks. You're like, oh God, it's old Sam Darnold again. We got to get rid of him now before he collapses. We got to do something. It's scary stuff there.
Bad. It's surprising to me that he even has 5.5 points here with 4 picks and no touchdowns. I mean, it's kind of impressive a little bit that he's got the points. But yeah, South Park when they're on the boat and Cartman's got the wiffle ball bat and they're like, Cartman, you can't kill us with a wiffle ball bat. That's this wet noodle fight here, and you want to know who the wiffle bat is? It's Michael Wilson down at the bottom. He in fact did kill him with a wiffle ball bat. He needed 15 catches from Michael Wilson, but by golly, he got there. Just an insane performance here. But yeah, Sam Darnold showing floor, showing old Sam Darnold, but Michael Wilson surprise of the week, a waiver warrior, some might say.
Waiver warrior.
And it was enough to bring him into a wet noodle victory against Eric. I guess Eric's the one getting killed with the wiffle ball bat here as a turn on its head.
Yeah.
But I mean, you brought up Pat Mahomes and how he could have down weeks and it just wouldn't feel as bad. And he's over here showing his floor too. 15-34 is not what you want. And Pollard and Barkley. Man, Barkley has been like scary poison on your team this year. Like, you drafted him high, you can't get rid of him, but he's not giving you what you want. He's got to be like running back like 8 or 9 on the year or something. 11.
Man, and you had to draft him high. Yeah, it's been tough to deal with. Definitely inconsistent, which is crazy because the only thing that you can depend on from the Eagles is that they're going to be running the ball, and still Saquon is just not busting off those long runs like he did last year here.
I mean, that says 28 carries right there?
26.
26, okay. He touched the ball 28 times with 28 opportunities with the targets as well. 10 points. That's awful.
Yeah, that's
rough. Awful.
Yeah, it is rough. Less than 4 yards a carry, I believe, there, and even missed a pass. So tough stuff for Eric to swallow here. He's at 6-14. It's technically 7-15. It doesn't look like he's mathematically eliminated yet, but I think he'd need a lot of dominoes to fall a lot of specific ways at this point for him to even have a chance at 6th place here. And
no 500.
Yeah, it's he can't right, like you said, he can't go even on the year now that he has 14 losses and 2 ties. There's just no hope for him to go even, and normally you got to be at least 500 to get to the 6th seed, so he's gonna need a miracle at this point. But why don't we just we talked about how the players kind of flubbed it. Everyone but Michael Wilson really was the guy's not worth talking about there. So tough matchup from both of these guys. We'll see how they bounce back. We've alluded to it enough. Let's talk about these standings here because we're starting to get down to the wire, and there are a lot of implications in these matchups that just cannot be ignored. We mentioned that the Bower of London kind of low to the bottom. Chief Trump also down here, 6-16. You might as well kiss it goodbye, Leemon. I don't think it's happening here. I've tried to keep your spirits up, but you've lost, 8 in a row at this point? You've just been sliding horribly. Bucky Irving not coming back and playing games with your heart has been terrible, and I'm sorry to see it, and I'm sorry to say it, but I don't think it's happening for you. It's a really tough break for your team there. Eric, like we talked about, is gonna need some things to fall his way here. He's gonna need pretty much Corey to start losing, and all these 9-13 teams to get to pretty much 15 losses as well. He needs everyone to have 15 losses around here, and he needs to win out to get up there. But everybody else right through here, even in 10th place, Riley at 8-14. If he just wins out, he's got a great chance of doing it. I think everybody right here still has full control of their destiny. All you got to do is win, and you can get in. At this point, you don't have to start looking at everybody else's matchups and doing math and figuring out bullshit, and just win your matchups here. You still have a chance, including Dylan, even though he's on a crazy slide. 9-13 is enough. You know, it may look grim for him, but Nate is at 9-13 and pleased as punch to be there. You know, like, it's all about perspective at this point. You could just win and do it. So, you know, the point loss is brutal for Dylan. It's brutal.
Yeah, no, that will come to get him here, because I mean, if he wins out and goes 15-13, fine. Maybe the point total doesn't kill him here, but everyone here has a loss budget, kind of assigned to him here. It's whatever gets you to 14, that's your budget. You can afford 2 more losses. Nate can afford 1 more loss. Dylan seems like he should be able to afford 1 more loss. He cannot. I don't think he can. I think he has to win out. I think he has to get to 15-13 because the point differential is just too extreme. The poop hat will ultimately be his demise.
And he wanted it, man. It's tough to see, but it's he brought this upon himself, and now he has to either pay the consequences or work his way through it here. We talked about Nate being excited to be at 9-13, but I finally moved up out of that 8 slot. I was losing and winning and just really being in position 8 for the last few weeks. I'm now in 7. I'm moving up. The most points in the league have been scored against me, and it's not really all that close, but I don't care. I'm going to get into the fucking playoffs this year, hell or high water. And like I said, I control my destiny. I will win. It's rematch week coming up. I know what these teams are capable of. I've seen them before. I'm not letting them walk in here and take me out of the yoffs, bro. So I'm coming for you guys. Everybody up here. Corey, Chris, Artie, Sal, and Ricky, even you, I'm coming for your head. Alex, you're getting in. Nothing I can do about it at this point, but that's the way things are shaking up with the standings. Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't. While you were tirading and talking about how you've been between 8th and 7th, I was just thinking about, and I don't know, I guess I'm just in a pop culture mood right now, but Hitch with Will Smith.
Yes.
Where he's like teaching him how to dance. He's like, yeah, we're living right here. 1 and 2, 2-step. We're just living right here.
Yep.
That's you in 7th and 8th place. That's you in the Commissioner Cup, in the Luke Ford Invitational. Yeah, this is where we live. We don't leave here because we live here.
No, I don't live here. I'm leaving. I'm moving out. And
it's time to bust a move.
It's
Dougie on him.
I'm done with 7-8, and it's time for 6-7. You know what I'm saying? I'm I'm making a switch up, and I want to get 2-6 at the very least. Got some tough obstacles ahead of me though, which we should talk about here very shortly. But we got a couple waiver wire moves to discuss first. So why don't we go ahead and get to the waiver wire? No more trades because we're past the deadline. But a few moves to discuss before we get to next week. Let's move on.
Waiver wire and trades.
All right. We had a bunch of claims in for Bashal Tootin. Did I miss something with ETN? Did he get like a serious injury or something?
No, Bashal Tootin is just kind of like the B guy right now.
He's
been doing well. He's been efficient. I think ETN is maybe a little banged up. He said that he could have come back, but no, wait. Who was that? Someone came out and was like, "Oh, I could have
Jacobs?
come back, but they didn't need to."
Jacobs?
No, it was
No?
someone who was winning by a lot.
Maybe
Um,
Warren? I don't know.
yeah, I think it was Warren. Warren was like, "Yeah, I could have come back, but Kenny G was doing it, so whatever." But Bashal Tootin, I think he's a good pickup. I almost spent my guy on my claim on him. I don't think I was going to beat Alex anyway, but yeah, I could see it. It could be important. Travis Etienne could get injured, or Jacksonville could just kind of produce continuously. Um, 4 claims seems right.
Yeah, I did see him. He did a lot of work this week. I did see him putting in some serious effort on the field and having some great plays dished out to him. I don't know what he ended up scoring or anything, um, but I know he definitely had a big week. So even if Travis Etienne is there, yeah, he scored 13.5 points and definitely looked good. So
It
could
was
be a
the snap
breakout
share and touch
performance.
share that I think really sealed it here. They split it. I think it was like 14 touches, 14 carries for Tootin and like 18 for ETN. But then Tootin also had some pass work too, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, if you're low on running backs, which Alex is not, then go ahead and bolster your lineup. I liked seeing this come through actually because I was I was thinking about spending it on him, but Alex went ahead and played keep away from everyone else. So if you've got running back problems, I feel bad for you, son. Uh, not us.
Yeah,
Not us.
not us. Hey, you know what? I'm kind of feeling that way as well. I'm right there with you. So, not these guys here, but let's talk about the rest of these waiver pickups. Hunter Henry getting added for Dylan, going for a spot start tight end for him. We had Emmanuel Wilson get picked up. This was a more popular claim as well, just because Josh Jacobs had that injury this week. It was a knee injury, and they're saying it's just like a bone bruise or a contusion or something like that. Not anything that's supposed to cause some serious time, but Emmanuel Wilson was the guy that took over, and, I'd expect him to miss at least one game with a knee injury as a running back, no matter how light it was. So Emmanuel Wilson might be a great start this week for Leemon. Chris picking up Kyle Hamilton. He's kind of bounced back and forth on some people's teams, I believe. He's had some great weeks so far this season, but Baltimore's also had some tough times, so we'll see if Kyle Hamilton ends up being good for Chris. Yoshi Voss getting picked up for Dylan as well, just looking for some wide receiver depth. And then Jaden Higgins getting picked up for Leemon as well. Rashard Smith wasn't really doing anything for him.
Yeah, I know that Chris has 2 IDPs on bye this week. So on top of Kyle Hamilton, I know he went and picked Edgerton Cooper up as well. Filling 2 IDP buys at the same time kind of sounds like a nightmare. I looked at his roster; it actually didn't seem too bad. He didn't drop any of the guys I thought he would drop, but that's just Chris in fantasy football. And then Andre Yosevas, that is literally just Dylan plugging his Jamar Chase hole. If you don't know, Jamar Chase is not playing football this week. He spit on Jalen Ramsey. So he's looking to get a piece of that Cincinnati action. It makes a lot of sense, and the kind of move that Dylan's going to need to do to get those 4 wins we talked about. Since he plays New England this week, I think Gonzo's going to be all over Higgins, which should mean Yosevas can do some work underneath.
This is the type of thing that did just work out for Sal. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes out before that game with appendicitis. He had surgery and couldn't play, and Michael Wilson slots in and gets a ton of work. So could be the same for Yoshi Voss with Jamar Chase out, and like you said, the primary target, T. Higgins, being covered with the strongest parts of the Pats defense. But we'll see if that ends up panning out for him here. There, like you said, there were some free agency moves. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I ain't scrolling through the whole chat and taking screenshots of all those. So if they're important, they'll show up in the projection preview, which we can get to right now and talk about the beginning of the rematches in the Dimmadome. Let's do it. Woo!
Projection Preview.
All right.
Rematch week, baby.
Rematch week. Yeah, so I have some information from our week 1 matchups because these are identical here in at least setup, but the implications are obviously a lot different in week 12 here. So why don't we jump right into it and see what's different, what's the same, and what's going to happen as we get into this week of football. The Black Suit Ball Hogs versus the 69ers. Week 1, this went Alex's way. He got a 2-0 week against me that week, and I missed the median by about 2 points, so I'm hoping this one goes a lot different. I have some big points expected tonight coming out of the Buffalo versus Houston game. We talked about the Bills needing to start winning and winning hard now. Josh Allen really wants to silence the doubters and show them that he can do it, so I'm expecting a ton from him tonight.
Yeah, they're on the chase. They have to catch the Pats.
Yeah,
and they're playing first this week, so like putting up in a loss here and then knowing that the Pats are going to play Cincy and potentially get pulled one game even further ahead, they have to deliver.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on for them here, and I'm hoping that turns into fantasy gold for me, just like it did last week. I have Derrick Henry going against the Jets. This should be great for me. He's a rock in my lineup. We're past his bye. It's just time for Derrick Henry every week. I don't expect anything different. Yep. So yeah, it's just gonna be a nice big hole up the middle, hopefully for him. I do have I believe RJ Harvey's on bye. The Broncos are on bye this week, so I pretty much have to stick with either Kenny G or Jaylen Warren, depending on if Jaylen Warren actually plays or not. I'm gonna put him back in, but I'm gonna put Kenny G in if he's starting and Jaylen Warren's not there. That seems to be a smash play, and I'm definitely gonna do it and not get talked out of it this week. Boutte, I'm expecting him to be back versus the Bengals. This could be huge. This could be the edge that I need. Kayshon Boutte back. Getting just like 2 long bombs from Drake or something against the porous Bengals defense could be the edge I need to make up this massive projection difference that I'm staring at against Alex.
Yeah, you need some sort of magic here. I mean, Josh Allen, Derrick Henry could definitely be big producers, go way above their projections. But yeah, you need Judy or Booty or someone to just go crazy. Jordan Addison catch a couple of touchdowns or something like that. At Green Bay, that's so rough.
CD Lamb versus Jerry Judy, man. Like, just look at this, dude. Colston Loveland versus Mark Andrews. Oh, man. It's A.J. Brown versus Kenneth Gainwell. These are the matchups that I'm looking at. And I'm supposed to be like, yeah, Kenny G's going to do it. I really hope it does, man. This is a tough matchup for me, and I'm in a dire spot needing some wins here, so...
Hey, I mean, I think that JT and the KC, they're coming off a bye, but KC is a tough defense. You got Dallas and the Eagles playing each other, so Lamb and AJ Brown can't both score at the same time. If it turns into a grind fest, it doesn't really seem like that's the script, but that's exactly how they get you. If it turns into a punt fest and both teams are playing divisional football and being tough, sun's shining in all their eyeballs and stuff like that, and Dallas, and maybe it's maybe they drop a few passes and it's all good.
We have a small selection of games that we're really keyed in on. I mean, this Jets Baltimore game is huge for us for multiple reasons. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Henry all going. So, and Brees Hall is obviously in that game as well. So I'm hoping all the touchdowns go Henry's way, and he's pretty much hoping anybody else on the Ravens gets the ball. So we're both going to be eyes glued to the screen on Sunday at 1 for that one. We've got Jordan Addison, Cashman, Van Ginkel going all in one game. So two big parts of that defense there. I thought that was funny seeing him pick him up. That I was like, ooh, this is kind of a little head-to-head matchup. Here, hold on. Let me just...
Pittsburgh and Chicago as well.
Yeah, and that was the next point I was going to bring up, is that, yeah, that Pittsburgh and Chicago, I got multiple pieces of that one. Alex has multiple pieces as well with TJ Watt going. I guess just that one piece, not multiple, but if Matt Stafford wants to truly be considered for the MVP performance that he's saying he's putting up, then I think it'd be right now. He can prove it in the Dimmadome at least against Josh Allen right here, and against last year's MVP. It's going to be a big deal for the voters, I'm sure.
Is there a Monday night shenanigans going on?
Monday night, I don't see anything here. Doesn't look like either of us have any investment in that Monday night game.
That's 3 weeks in a row. Who's playing Monday night?
I'm
All right,
avoiding
we'll
that
figure it
shit.
out later. Yeah, like the plague. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're gonna step out your 1-2 step with Will Smith, you're gonna have to bust a move here against the best team in the league. So good
Stop
luck to
hitching me
you.
to 7th place, bro. I can't do that.
Or 8th. Or 8th.
All right. Well, yeah, this is a big deal. Alex obviously has the edge with Jonathan Taylor coming back off bye, but like we said, anything can
A little
happen
bit of an edge.
any given Sunday. The Black Suit
David
Ball
and
Hogs are
Goliath.
here to stay. All right, let's talk about your matchup versus Nate here. Nate with all that momentum like we were talking about, but you got plenty of your own on your big win streak as well. One of them's going to snap here. Let's see who bends first and who finally breaks. You got Woody Marks going tonight in that same Buffalo versus Houston game. That's going to be a big start to your week. I don't know if he has anybody invested in tonight's game as well. Doesn't look like he does. You have Daniil Hunter going as well, though.
Hell yeah.
Hoping that he brings Josh Allen down a few times.
Yeah, I might put Will Anderson in there too.
Oh man, just double up with those Texans defenders. That could be an interesting strategy. Thursday night games tend to be low scoring, so it's not
It's
the
hard to
worst bet in
stack
the
Josh
world.
Allen, but
But they'll do
this
it.
team, the Texans are the kind of team that can get it done. I don't know. I don't think he could blow up like Miami. I'll probably stick with Roquan doing whatever he wants to Tyrod Taylor.
Probably a smart decision there with Tyrod getting the start.
We
Mason
didn't talk
Taylor.
about this. But we wet noodled in week 1. It's still rematch week, Luke. We wet noodled week 1, but I came out the victor. So, Nate, I think the better story is the win streak snap here, but you can't forget that Nate is currently 0-1 against me this season. He wanted me. We did specifically work the schedule so that teams that hadn't played each other in the previous 4 years in the first 3 weeks had a chance to. So Nate and I have never done this before. We've never gone double up in a year, and I'm looking forward to sweeping them and just calling
Ooh,
it a year.
sweep. We'll see if that does pan out for you. Only a 5-point difference in the projections here. Nate's team has been heating up at the right time, and all these
Hey, look
guys.
at Trevion Henderson, 15 points projected.
Yeah, look
You
at him
know,
go, man.
let him
Especially
go.
against Cincy, it's like they have been just allowing everything in. So, on the other hand, Chase Brown against New England. New England's run defense has been fantastic this year, so could present problems for him. Indianapolis, their defense has been great this year so far as well. So Rashee Rice may run into some issues. But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff from both sides here. I know Nate has been super excited about Quinshon Judkins, but I mean, gosh, Trey McBride, Bijan Robinson, Javonte Williams, all great matchups for you here. T. Higgins as well. I know you've
I'm
been
greened up.
you're definitely keying up on some good stuff here. And Devontae Adams not even questionable. On Thursday. I mean, he went to Wednesday's practice. He didn't have even with all of the veteran shit. He's just ready to go. He's going to catch you another touchdown there. So
Did you see the clip of? It's like someone posted on Twitter. It's the clip of him where he's running the route 2 weeks ago, and like he just pulls up and like grabs his back, and the guy's like, "Wow, we watched him turn to Unk right in front of our eyes." And Devontae tweeted him back and was like, "Bro, you gotta chill. You gotta chill with that." He literally just like, "Oh, my back."
my back, my back. Yeah.
Can't even run the route anymore. Got
Turned
back in
into
my day.
Unk in
I
real
used to burn idiots like you.
Oh man. Well, he's still out there getting those looks in the end zone, and that is all
Hell
that
yeah.
matters for you. We'll see if you can take this one home and complete the sweep. All right, let's talk about Artie versus Dylan. This one last time I don't think went so well for Dylan. He scored 78 points in the opening week of the Dimmadome, one of the worst week one scores I've ever seen across
Wow.
any of my fantasy football leagues ever. No one ever comes into week one thinking they're going to lose, right? You just come off the draft. You're like, I'm ready to go. My team's lit. Didn't even score 100 points. And, we'll see if he's reminded of that disappointment this week or evens it up with a new legacy. He definitely has a lot of new pieces and a lot of new players going to maybe get a different result. But the projections are still looking just as poor as they did end up looking for him in week one here. He's got Jackson Dart getting fired up if he does play. I mean, Jameis was out there last week and looked serviceable, so if they need to give Jackson Dart more time, I'm sure they're definitely okay with that. We'll see if he does end up coming out, though. Gibbs is in that same game. Tyjae Spears is playing against the Seahawks. That's a rough start, but I know Dylan just loves this guy. Jamar Chase, out. Gadsden, out. That's why his projections look so terrible. He's got to get some guys plugged in here. Did make those
John
pickups
Tucker.
with Yoshi Voss and Hunter Henry. So those should be getting plugged in. How much points are we missing out from that? Like 20 points. So 127. He's still got a terrible edge and he's looking up at Artie's 146 point projection, but it'd at least be a little bit closer with a full lineup here.
If Gibbs can run in a couple touchdowns, that takes it right out of Goff and St. Brown's hands. So if the game plan is Gibbs and he just kind of runs all over them, then fantastic. That's kind of what Dylan needs here. And I know I've said it and you've said it, but he needs all 4 of the wins coming up. So it's do or die time. There's no more lives left.
All 6 of the wins coming up. And yeah, that game is super important to him. Jackson Dart and yeah, there's 3 weeks left. We have the 3 rematch weeks. 12, 13, and 14. I know it's 12 to 14 is 2, but you count 12, then 13 and 14.
I said 4 a whole bunch. Damn. Anyway, it's 6 guys.
Yeah.
Still no breathing room for Dylan. He's got to get all of them.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jackson Dart all in that one. So really that's going to be a big decider for him there. He's got Stephon Diggs going against Cincinnati. Stephon Diggs has been looking like the alpha that he used to. And this could be a big game for him here. I mean, the Cincinnati defense is one you circle on your calendar, man. That's just when your players tend to explode. So we'll see if that ends up happening for Artie on this one. You got Olave back off bye. And Goddard against the Dallas defense. So a lot of great stuff for him, and he'll see what Nico Collins does tonight and get out in front of it here. But yeah, I think it's going to be a win for Artie and a heartbreaking damning into the into the losers bracket for Dylan.
He's the Browns. This is where he lives.
He's the Browns. Everyone's doing the two-step here. And this is where he lives. But let's look at the apple-bottomed jeans versus the goofy gooners. It's Riley versus Corey in a big matchup in Week 12 here. In Week 1, Riley actually took this one home with a 2-0 win against Corey, who dropped that one. And it's looking to be the same on this one. He's got Achan on bye. I'm sure he's going to be missing his points. Even if there were only 21 and a half, I'm sure he'd gladly take that out of whoever else he's putting in there, which he hasn't decided on yet, it looks like, but feels like it might only be Kareem Hunt and no one else. He doesn't have any other options to plug in as a running back, which could spell disaster for him. Kareem Hunt's been consistent, getting his 1 touchdown a game, but we talked about that Indy defense being pretty stout and could present problems for him there. Everyone else is plugged in, so missing those 6 points projected really would only put him at 120 versus the 132 for Riley.
I've got some general roster construction concerns about Corey's team. The more I look at it, I mean, we've got an Aaron Jones, a Justin Jefferson, and a T.J. Hawkinson.
He's the Vikings.
But he also has Kelsey and Hunt. It's just
He's
like
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs and the Vikings. And I don't know. It's just it works for Corey. He did it with the Dolphins one year. Somehow he just manages to get enough out of those guys.
If this was last year and he had the Chiefs and the Vikings, he'd be swimming in points. He'd be excited. But unfortunately, this year, the Chiefs have a negative win-loss, and the 9 has not really been doing it for for Minnesota so far, which has been disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side of it here, you got Lamar. So we have Drake May and Lamar Jackson. One of them was an MVP candidate coming into the season. The other one's the front runner now. Had to throw that in there. But Drake May should just eat Cincy alive. Same for Lamar for the Jets. I feel like maybe one of them doesn't step up to the plate and eat all their food there. But they should both be served quite the meal here. Got Monday night Rico Dowdle into San Fran. I think Rico actually just kind of goes crazy this week.
CMC revenge match.
Oh my gosh, Devin Singletary is getting fired up into Detroit.
How far have we fallen?
I don't know. Yeah, we don't have other options, Riley? What are we looking at?
Vidal's on bye. He picked up DeMarcado, and DeMarcado's out. He's got Jordan Mason. He could start Mason against Aaron Jones.
And the other Vikings.
Just fire up all your Vikings, I guess. It's a Viking week versus Green Bay in Lambeau.
Yeah, with JJ doing his best out there.
He's gonna do it.
I don't know. I think this has wet noodle potential. Not here at the top.
God, that would be so good for me. Don't get my hopes up, man. Oh, that would be so great for me.
You're right. We'll live right here. My new favorite bit.
Oh my god. Oh, well, shit. Devin Singletary is indeed getting fired up for Riley here, and I don't blame him for it given his options, but he's not depending on him, I'm sure. He really just wants George Pickens to go off again. He wants Jameson Williams to go off again. George Kittle to continue to do the George Kittle things. And he's still firing up poop emoji, Tez Johnson here. He just doesn't have any other options. Troy Franklin on bye. Fuck. Keon Coleman, is he even going to play tonight? Who knows? Jordan Mason.
Who knows?
Ugh.
I mean, maybe they keep Coleman out 1 week and then say, listen, sophomore, you gotta do your part here, or else you will get benched, and then he comes back and performs, and we can have like a a whole television drama. He's back this week. He must have learned. This is just, look at how he's producing for the team now. Just like uh just like Pickens last week when he got sat for the first opening
Yeah,
drive.
Pickens and CD Lamb
He
getting
learned his
sit for
lesson.
the opening drive that was hilarious.
Pickens like, well, you want to see effort? I'll show you effort. And then he broke like 8 tackles, and the coach is like, yeah, thank you. He's like, ugh, it's not that hard.
Which is so crazy, man. Like what? Like imagine if these guys were able to just actually understand the gravity of their situation instead of just acting like that all the time. What they'd be able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Or maybe they can only do it because of that mentality, you know? Like who knows?
It's like being a rapper, right? Like you have to think you've got the biggest dick in the room at all times as a rapper.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be a bad rapper. It's the same thing for wide receivers and DBs. They're like, "No, I'm him."
Yeah, and at least for that game, he definitely was. Big divisional matchup for them, means a lot to both of them. Cowboys are kind of getting into that territory where they really need to start winning more and more games here because they're not catching the Eagles, and this is their only opportunity to kind of flip the momentum all at once. Could be a big deal for them here. So we will see how that game goes and how this game goes. If it's a repeat of what happened in week 1, then Riley will take home another 2-0 here. I would love to see it down with the apple bottom to jeans. All right, let's talk about Chief Trump versus Osama bin Darnold. I think that's what it is, right? Osama bin Darnold. It's cut off for
That's
me in the
right.
display, but God, that
It's
is
Osama
funny
bin
stuff.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and week 1, this was a terrible one uh for Leemon as well. He did beat the median on it, but lost to the rise of Sal's team. He's since cooled and not had as much success, but he was undefeated for the first like 5-6 weeks, I think.
I think
Um,
he got to like 8-0 and then lost one.
Yeah, so this was a hot starter for him. Puka Nakua and Jackson Smith and Jigba obviously have been fantastic this year, but week 1 they were absolutely electric. He's still got Michael Wilson going with Marvin Harrison Jr. still missing time versus Jacksonville. That's definitely a team that's been exploitable in the past, and it's just great matchups for him across the board with everyone except for Bam Knight. His running back core is just completely falling apart here. If he doesn't have Josh Jacobs to go in, um, it's going to be tough for him, but he's still right there in projection, even with uh, one player's worth of points projected across 2 slots. So,
I mean, Puka JSN is elite. It's a great duo to have.
Tyler Warren,
Tyler
too.
Warren's been great. I did look back. He won 6 weeks in a row. He was 12-0 at one point. And I think he's at 15-7 right now.
Yeah, so it's definitely
Um,
been tough for him. Wow.
it was week 7 against me that he finally waffled and put up 106 points. And so and now I'm ahead of him. Look at that. Oh wait, Sal's listening. A lot of times we talk about guys. I'm like, yeah, I bet you're not listening. You're listening, Sal. I mean, what happens to Leemon here doesn't really matter. We don't care. He could win, he could lose. So just
He's
do
kind of
whatever you want with him.
screwed, yeah.
Yeah,
But it would be great if he played spoiler and took you down, Sal, because you are still in the running there, and I'm sure everyone wants to pass you for seeding here. So, um,
yeah. I guess I could stand to gain from you maybe not putting up 1,000,000 points this week, but I'd like to see both these teams come over the median, and kind of kick more people down. I think that'd be interesting.
that'd be
Or
good.
they'll wet noodle, and that'll be bad.
Now, let's make this a fireworks show. I want to see some action out of this one. Osama bin Darnold can light some shit up and make it pop off here. So we're excited to see that versus Tennessee. If you can do it versus anyone, you can do it versus Tennessee here. So this
Got
is
a
back to
Monday
the
Brock
nice.
Purdy.
Monday, Brock Purdy
Sorry.
versus the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, that's a big matchup for them here. And Brock Purdy has been great since he's been back. Is Bucky Irving actually going to play against the Rams on Sunday night? Is it going to be the return of Bucky and the rise of Chief Trump here? God.
Sunday night's a crazy time to wait. No, like everything else is done.
Yeah.
What's his pivot option after Sunday night?
And this
Does
is
he
huge,
have-
too. Rashad White is, who he's relying on, and they're projecting him low because they're projecting Bucky Irving to be there. But if Bucky Irving's not there, I mean, that's gonna decide it. That Sunday night, I mean, even just who is legitimately on the field in cleats is gonna decide it for these two guys. And Leemon is hoping that it's Bucky, and he's out there a lot here. But Sal is banking on it being Rashad White, and that is definitely gonna make the difference. All right, well, that about sums up that one here. Let's talk about Eric and the Bower of London versus Chris and the Homeless Losers to wrap it up. It's a somewhat close projection, but far apart records for these guys, though. They began the year tying each other and the median, and it would be, God, how funny would it be if they did it again here?
Yeah, they've been carrying a piece of their last matchup with them throughout the entire season. The 2 column there is this matchup. It's just been hanging out. They tie. They're even. I mean, right now at what is that? 7-15. After conversion there, Eric's really he's got the points for. So if he could get up and maybe there's someone under 500 that can make it in.
If it's Dylan, we've talked about it. If it's Dylan, who's also, because he could be right there, if those guys are tied at the end, Eric will get it.
Yeah, I think Eric has it over on most people, actually. I think he's got points for rivaling the top 4 right now. So if he wins out, that's scary. Someone has to go 500 to beat him out. And on the other side of it, Chris 13 and 9 here. We talked a lot about the 9 and 13 teams wanting to get in. 13 and 9 teams are susceptible. I mean, you got to win at least one more. 2 really cinches the deal for you, but if you just can't pick up a win here in the last 3 games, it's gone. Your standing just kind of slides out from underneath you, and it's over. Don't be that person. Get one of those wins. So this does have importance. I think it, either Eric lives to fight another day here and continues his 2-0 march, or Chris kind of just seals his playoff berth and gets to limp into the the off season, the playoffs.
Yeah, it's again, we got a lot riding on this Dallas and Eagles game too in this one too. Dak Prescott and Saquon Barkley both being there. Jake Ferguson, obviously, Chris has been depending on that stack for a little while now. It's just, this is a big matchup for a number of reasons, and Chris definitely looking to hang on to that 13-9 record, like you mentioned. Because if he slips here, it can just be over for him. That's gonna do it, though. That's all of our matchups. A ton of crazy stuff happening. Some moves still needing to be made, even, and a big game tonight between the Bills and the Texans. And these standings are closer than ever, even though we keep thinking they're gonna get separated. I'm hoping I can jump back up into the top. You got any closing thoughts, sentiments, and statements for the people here, Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a race. It's still very much on. Even Alex up there stands to lose seeding. So it's anyone's game. Keep fighting, keep playing, and go Sorcerers. Back to you.
All right, well, until next time, guys, loved having you listen, love having you come by and hang out with us for this little chunk of time that we get to do this with you guys. Good luck with your games. Bring it down. Let's get it done. See you next time.
Rematch week.
Rematch week.
Thank you for listening to the DFL Breakdown. Tune in next week for more.